Big new day, big new rumor. We've got a major leak out there right now that has the name of the next Nintendo Switch console, it has the button layout of the next Nintendo console, it has the gimmick of the next Nintendo console, and it has the missing gimmick of the next Nintendo console. Let's dive into this leak slash rumor and see what we think on the other side. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hit that like button if you enjoy this video. This comes from a Korean leaker. Now, I'm not very familiar with this leaker, but they do have a decent following, it looks like. It seems like maybe they've had some leaks before. I can't quite really peg down exactly what they have gotten correct and incorrect, so know that off the top. And I'm going to go into this, and then I'm going to give you my take on the other side. All right, we got to start off with the name because it's very bizarre. And I want to really emphasize the word bizarre because bizarre sounds instantly fake, but bizarre is something Nintendo is very, very familiar with. Who would have thunk they would have named the follow-up to the Wii U? Who would have thunk they'd make a 2DS or a new 3DS or any of these decisions they've made that have seemed slightly off kilter? So when you hear that this Korean leaker says the name of the next Nintendo Switch console does not include Switch, instantly I'm like, huh? But let's entertain it. Super Nintendo Play is what this leaker is stating the Switch 2 is going to be officially called. Very, very, very interesting. That is a absolute bananas name, and one I personally can't see Nintendo using. But as I mentioned, we do have this instance multiple times where Nintendo does sort of the unthinkable, and I don't mean that in the good way. I don't mean that the unthinkable like they've done with Switch and its success. I mean that the unthinkable of like, no one would make this decision except you, good old Nintendo. So that's the first thing, Super Nintendo Play. But there's other details here as well, including that it uses game cards just like the original Switch. It has the Super Famicom PAL SNES button structure, meaning the colored button layout. Now, we've seen this kind of pop up as a rumor slash data mine slash leak slash nothing burger, all right? A number of people have highlighted that in numerous recent Nintendo Switch games, there is this button layout that is not what the Switch button layout looks like. Instead, it is using colored buttons akin to the PAL SNES. If you're familiar, the US SNES, Super Nintendo, utilized a purple gradient color scheme for the buttons, and the European SNES utilized a really nice colored button scheme, and so did the Super Famicom, which is like the Japanese name for this. So very, very interesting, very, very cool color scheme, and one that like, oh, was apparently found in Mario Wonder, but then actually it was not, and oh, it was shown in the new Mario. I mean, it's popped up a lot, and I very much don't think that they're related. I don't think the fact that we're seeing colored button prompts pop up indicates like, ooh, this is the first leak of Switch 2. I don't buy that, but alas, this leak is saying that it does have that colored button structure. It'll be a hybrid indoor-outdoor console. Now take that for what you will, because as far as I'm aware, the Switch is a hybrid indoor-outdoor console. I don't know what makes something more outdoors than the Nintendo Switch, or more indoors than the Nintendo Switch, right? But the crazy part, the part that is removing a gimmick here, I don't understand, is that it will not have a dock. Now, there's two ways to interpret this, both of which I think are insane. Way one is that there's some other method of connecting besides a dock, and that I think could be a little bit potentially true. Okay, if it did instead have like a power brick and it connected that way, maybe. But that still seems very odd, and deviating from the docked, undocked mode vernacular and the way that the Switch is just understood, I can't see them deviating from a dock. I think that would be just weird. I think it would be poorly conveyed, and I think people would not really understand, and I think you'd have a lot of people that thought this Super Nintendo Play theoretical system was only a handheld, like only portable. Without the dock and what we've come to know the dock to be, I think people would be very, very, very flummoxed. I really do. I don't think it would be a good a look for Nintendo. I don't think it would serve them well. Now, the other possible scenario is that Nintendo is not including a dock, yet the system is still using a dock. You know what I mean? So like, no dock used Or sorry, no dock included, but dock used. Like, it's not providing it. There was a point in time where some of the DSs no longer provided chargers, I believe. Very, very bizarre, because they counted on you just like having a bunch of chargers. Yikes. I also do not think this is a good move. I know that there are a lot of Nintendo Switch out there. I know that there are a lot of docks out there. I don't really like this idea that Nintendo would cheap out on what is supposed to be a premium level system and instead go dockless. Now, maybe you're saying, oh, this is a premium level system and that's why they're going dockless, to keep it at $400. Like, there's a lot of ways you can work this out in your head and try to justify it and, you know, make it make sense. But I don't really like any of them. I feel like Nintendo has talked so extensively about ensuring a smooth transition, about making sure that, you know, customers are in the know, about making sure that, you know, they keep the Switch branding going, the Switch family of systems. I just have a really hard time seeing Nintendo deciding that they're going to kind of just shirk all of that, right? They're kind of going to just brush that off and say, okay, we're ditching the Switch name, we're ditching the dock. It really feels like they would not be in line with what Nintendo has sort of committed to in this generation, what has brought them success. I feel like this would be an about face that does not fit for Furukawa. And I say that specifically because I do feel like Shintaro Furukawa is a very, very smart dude. I feel like he is a very, very intelligent, calculated, well-trained businessman. And I think a lot of what he's doing is ensuring that you're getting a very business-like approach. And to me, that is very different than, say, a more esoteric, goofier, silly approach, a creative approach, a fascinating approach, a fantastical approach. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really the Iwata era approach. I feel like it's definitely a different look, definitely a different feel, and I think Nintendo is going to operate from smarts and sense and not risks. Their risk was going Switch, right? Their risk was doing something hybrid. That risk has already been attempted and achieved. Now it's just basically about, hey, let's make sure that we are successful. Let's make sure that we do make a great next system, and one that just builds on everything that we've already built up. I think that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to see. So I'm going to say that I think this leak is completely off base. There's no guarantee that it's false, right? We got to take everything at face value, meaning it could be true, it could not be true. We don't totally know, given the fact that we've heard nothing official at this point. It's all based on hearsay, it's all based on rumors, but I do not believe something that is this out of pocket is what Nintendo is looking to do next. I feel like Nintendo is going to really stay in pocket. And I think there might be additional gimmicks. I think there might be additional interesting things from Nintendo in the Switch 2, but I don't think some of them are going to be removing things, changing it dramatically, getting goofy with it. I just don't think that's really where Nintendo is at right now, and I don't believe that they're interested in rocking the boat that much. So if you see this leak pop up, you know, consider it. We'll see if anything else happens, if there's any more details about this, more interesting things to pop up. But for now, I do think that this is, I don't buy it. This is not a rumor or leak that I'm invested in, or one that I'm giving much clout and credence to, and I say skip out on the Super Nintendo Play. It's just too out there, and I don't think that's where Nintendo's at in 2023 and 2024. I'll let you know if we find out more. Let me know your take in the comments down below. Do you buy it, believe it, think it? What's your take on this leak? And until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.